Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Hogs Media Podcast. I'm Garen Wynn, along with.
Joshua Moline, how's it going?
So last week we talked about Hogs basketball, big upcoming game versus Duke, and I'm sure anybody that listened to this or is watching this, um, they saw we beat Duke.
Saw the
And
results. Let's go, Blue Pig. F Duke. I hate Duke.
who doesn't?
Uh, yeah, they're easily the most hateable team ever. There's a whole documentary on hating Christian Leitner in the 90s, and they've had a lot of hateable guys since then. Grayson Allen, JJ Riddick, Kyle Filipowski. They just get these hateable dudes that you're just like, get out of here. So it felt nice. Felt great to beat them. That home crowd freaking showed up,
That
a
was
thousand people
fantastic.
capacity. Like that was massive. Um, yeah, I mean let's break down some of the game, the actual like game details. What did you think overall of some of our players, our schemes? What do you think?
The first thing we talked about was Brazil needing to be a man, and he did. He had 19 and 11, so he finally played to his potential. And it kind of showed everyone for us to be the best team we can be, he has to be a dude. He can't just be a side character. Like, he has to be a main player. And Caleb Battle gets buckets. I think we've said it in almost every episode when we talk about basketball. He is just a certified bucket getter. Like you've said before, he's the second coming of JD Note. Comes
Yep.
off the bench more his first year, comes off the bench, and he's liable to give you 20 anytime he comes in. So
Mm-hmm.
he was a difference maker in that game. And then I think our attack mode, getting Filipowski in foul trouble, even though I hate him and he does have a punchable face, like you said. He's just that guy you hate from Duke, even though he's really good. I think getting him in foul trouble was huge. And then I can't remember who guarded him, but Proctor was out of the game. He didn't do crap. Him and McCain, both the highly touted freshmen, did not do anything. So I think it was Devo, I'm sure Blocker, and whoever else guarded him, shut them
Yeah.
down. I think that also was a huge difference maker in us winning the game.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. We did great against Proctor. To be fair, Proctor kind of took himself out of the game too. I mean, he had an airball three-pointer like early on that he was open for. That was
Was it
not
going off the
Arkansas.
side of the backboard, or is this a different one?
He had both.
He
He
hit the
had an
side of the
airball
backboard later on in the
and a
game.
side backboard. Yeah, so two pretty open three-pointers that he just shanked without our defense really affecting it. So like he kind of took himself out of the game, which that's on him. He's just not the dude that people thought he was. Maybe he'll turn into that, but coming into this year, people were like, oh, he'll be a lottery pick, by the end of the season. And it's like, well, he's
Looking
playing
like
okay, streaky. Um, yeah, I mean, I think, from a offensive standpoint, our assists were way up.
yes,
Uh 17 assists total. And then we played Furman on Monday, got to 21.
because you
Um,
gave the analysis. I think that's why you did your analysis,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
listened,
listen.
and they were like, "He's saying Josh is spitting facts. I think we have
Josh
to
is
pass the ball." So
move the ball. I will say, it was interesting. We saw in the game against Duke and against Furman, at least in the first half. Second half ball got stuck a little bit more, but we saw more varieties of types of scoring. Layden Blocker had quite a few like nice little backdoor cuts along the baseline where he got that dunk. It was moving without the ball. We saw, I think, L. Ellis and Davenport both get like a couple good moments moving without the ball. Brazil got some of his buckets moving without the ball. So guys finally, did that, especially against Duke. I think I think the disruption of not having Mark for one game kind of created some of that facilitation. Obviously, really glad that Mark is back. He's a stud, but I think it kind of like allowed a few things to click, a few of those movement things, a few of those ball movement issues, because you can't just like lean back on Mark and let him go off for 30 points, or Mark and Battle. I think some other guys were like, oh, I got to step up, and got four guys like Blocker to step up, four guys like Ellis and Lawson. Lawson had a huge game against Furman. For those guys to step up, it's going to have to look like moving without the ball, and getting, a quick pass and getting the bucket, getting the shot. So yeah, really, really great. Our shooting percentage is looking nice the last two games. We shot 40% from 3-point, almost 41 against Duke. I mean, 9 of 22, like I'll take that. And then as well against Furman, the exact stats were, I think, 42%. Yeah, 42% from 3, 8 of 19, and 60% from the field. So yeah, I think our offense, at least against Duke and Furman, really starting to click. Our fouls are starting to go down a little bit. I know coach is still really concerned on the defensive end. We're getting still, a lot of fouls without like a ton of turnovers. So we need to see like one of those change. Either, we stay high foul, but go more high turnover, or less foul and keep our turnover ratio at what it is. But it's improving. I saw some switches, which was nice. Against Duke, we actually had one possession when Bay Fall got in where it didn't look like a straight man-to-man. It looked like maybe a little bit of a zone / man. I don't know exactly, how you define it, but I remember like literally I was like, in 5 years, I have never seen a Musselman defense do anything but other than just like big on big, man on man, like one on one. And it was kind of this interesting little like
Maybe
team
maybe a matchup zone, maybe.
matchup zone, maybe was what it was. But yeah, we didn't do it much. We did it for like 2 plays while Bayfall was in, which good for him, getting some minutes in the first half in a tight game. So that's cool. But yeah, oh man, super happy to get that win. Very concerned about the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was bad. Shout out to Devo Davis. They put him back in the game, and he handled it. He made some big free throws.
He did. I was kind of screaming a little bit earlier, like, why isn't Devo like getting in there? Like, Love Blocker, he's a freshman. He's not ready for
Devo's
like,
done it 3 years.
yeah, like get him in there. Just like trying to lose. Here's just like a fun play-by-play for you from like under 3 minutes. Here's our possessions. Layden Blocker, turnover. Brazil makes a 3-pointer. We get fouled. Brazil makes 1 free throw, misses 1 free throw. We get the ball back. Caleb Battle misses a free throw, made a free throw. Next possession, Arkansas turnover. Next, Filipowski layup. Next possession, Caleb Battle turnover. Next possession, Ellis made 2 free throws. Good for him. Next possession, Ellis missed a free throw, made a free throw. Next possession, Devo missed a free throw, made a free throw. Next possession, Caleb missed a free throw, made a free throw. So in the final 3 minutes, we gave up like 6 free throws at the line, like left 6 points on the line for free throws, and had 4 turnovers or 5. Like, tell me you want to lose a game when that's what your final 3 minutes look like. Only one of those things that I read out was actually a good possession. Trevin Brazil made 3-pointer. Everything else was a 50-50 free throw, other than Ellis once made both, or a turnover. It was shocking and infuriating, and took a 13-point lead down to 5. At one point, I think they got it to like 4, but yeah, so scary.
Be different if we were getting stops, but they were hitting threes along with easy layups off these turnovers and missed free throws. So we got very lucky at the end, because I think Foster, if he hits a 3, it's like a 1-point game with 10 seconds left. So luckily,
Yeah.
he misses. We get the rebound game, but it's like, imagine if that goes in and we blow it, then everybody's gonna be just. Ugh. But we got out with the W.
Got out with the W. But yeah, and you can see against Furman, they had practiced
Yes,
press break plays where they had 3 guys all running from out of bounds, doing
press
sprints.
offense.
And even if you don't have like a designed play, or if it's more of a like kind of free flowing play, the thing that I saw the difference is there's like against Duke, guys were just running straight towards the ball, like the out of bounds guy. They were just running straight towards him, catching it, and then protecting the ball. And it's like that is the worst thing to do.
That
What
is
you want
like
to do is side to side, so that as soon as you catch it, you keep your momentum and you dribble immediately. Like you immediately keep running, and you get, if you're going to pass it, you do it quickly. You don't pick the ball up and wait. Like that is how you get trapped. And finally, even against Furman, even, when we weren't necessarily doing like the 3-man like sprint thing, we were catching and running, catching and passing, catching and like keeping it moving quick. And I think we've got it figured out.
I mean, in press break, you never want to catch it in dead man's corner. And we did it multiple times. L. Ellis would hunch over, Pee Wee no no, basketball no no, and just put his head down and have nowhere to go. And he's already pretty shorter than everybody else. So it's like just hit the inbounder, boom, boom, middle, boom, boom, middle. I mean,
Right back, we didn't hit it right back to the inbounder like
no,
once.
everybody
Like
knows.
you quick in, quick back. Like
Anybody
it's
who's
not that
ever played
hard.
basketball knows if the middle's not open, you hit the inbounder because no one covers him because they're trapping, and then he swings it or he takes it or he hits middle. You got options. That's the thing with our press break against Duke. We try to dribble too much. Beat a press, you
Yeah.
got to pass. Like you said, pass quickly. Boom, boom, boom. And we're just, and then our
Yeah.
passes aren't very crisp either. They were all over the place, chunking it like midway across the court. I'm like, you can't get away with that in high school ball, let alone college ball. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, guys need to be like cut it. It's like a quarterback having like a crosser across the middle of the field. Like if the guy's
Yes.
getting the ball, you got to cross in front of his face so that there's like movement and easier passes. But instead, guys were running away from the ball, trying to do a deep ball. It's like this isn't football. We can't do a stream route over the top. Like run towards him and across his face. That was, I
It was
was
frustrating.
getting so angry and scared in those final 3 minutes. I was like, what is happening? Yes, Devo finally got in, like took care of the ball, took care of it. In general, a question I do have is against Duke, I felt like L. Ellis was kind of like back to himself a little bit. He got 9 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, which is solid. 3 of 9 shooting isn't great, but
Terrible.
he played pretty well. But then against Furman, I'll say from the eye test, it doesn't look like Ellis is like effing anything up, but it feels like coach pulls him out quick.
I think it's
Like there
because
was
of his
one,
defense.
do what?
I think it's because of his defense. Muss is very big on defense.
I was trying to watch for that. There was one play where he like helped down and like his guy got open, but like coach pulled him like after one of those. It was just like you left a guy open for 3 because you were helping down on D. You're out. You're out of the game. And I was just like, I don't know. It feels like his leash is way smaller than anyone else's leash right now. Like Devo, Mark, Battle, and even Blocker, I feel like could have like multiple mistakes like that before they get pulled. But with Ellis, it's like first one and he gets yanked.
I feel like he does it at inopportune times. I don't remember which game it was, but I think it was at Battle for Atlantis. LL comes in immediately, gives a wide open three, gets pulled. And it's just I think with those other guys, like we've said before, they bring other tools, and LL does too. He's an amazing scorer, a really good facilitator. But if he's not doing those things, he can't kill us in the defensive end. And you're not going to play big minutes for Coach Muss if you can't play defense. That's why
Yeah.
Davenport doesn't play more than 20 minutes because his defense is not very good. And if
Yeah.
he's not shooting, same thing.
Yeah. I will say Davenport's improved,
He's making
especially
more shots.
yeah, he's and on the defensive end, like he's had a few good like blocks, like recovery blocks where
He
the
had a
guy maybe
recovery steal the other night.
good steal. He's kind of in that like kind of
Touching a
awkward
young
position where he like sometimes has to play the 4, but he's not big enough to play the 4. And then sometimes when he has to play the 3, he's maybe not quite quick enough for some of these like teams that are playing a 3 that's kind of like Duke's 3 is pretty quick. McCain was basically like playing the 3, or like Proctor,
games
when
or
you've got like
three. Yeah.
Roach, McCain, and Proctor all in the game. He's not quite quick enough to guard like a fast team's three, and he's not big enough to
He's
guard.
too small to guard a Filipowski or a Mitchell for
Yeah,
Duke. Or so when we play Kentucky, he's going to be kind of in that defensive matchup. Who do you put him on? Because he's not very, his foot speed's not very fast, so we can't guard those fast guards. And then do we really want him to get posted up on? Because that's what any good team's going to do.
right.
So
That's what Ingram did against him, and just
yes,
backed him
exactly.
down, the Carolina guy. So yeah, he's interesting. But yeah, his shooting is like, I think he started to come on a little bit more. He had two big ones to end the half against Duke.
Yes,
He was 2 for 4 against Furman. And coach, I liked, coach's interview where he said, like, we're intentionally giving him the starting spot because we want him to have that confidence, because we know we're going to need him to knock down some threes for us. And we want him to like have that confidence of mind. But yeah, I mean, Ellis, I'm looking at his numbers against Furman. He only got 12 minutes on 0 fouls. So like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't. That's just what I mean by like his leash seems a bit tighter, because Blocker's getting 23 minutes, double the amount of minutes with 4 fouls. So Blocker, is obviously playing aggressive D, but he's also like putting the team at risk and with foul trouble. Devo had 38 minutes. So basically the entire game with 4 fouls. So he had some foul trouble. So I do think it's a little interesting that L with 0 fouls only got 12 minutes. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm still not seeing, but it just seems like, man, Ellis to me seems like if we can have him rolling and feeling good, I think our whole team plays better.
he's just another. Ooh, no, another piece we need.
Yeah.
His offense just makes us that much better. And I wish we could be in the locker room and hear all this stuff. Of course, we can't, but I'm sure it's a rotation thing. He's either slow in rotations, and Coach Muss has his defined defensive principles. So there's no telling what those are each week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if he doesn't do that, like any other coach, Muss is going to take him out, tell him, and then put him back in. But in college, it's so much harder to sub because if some guy's playing well, you're not going to pull him. And if Blocker's hustling his butt off, you can't really
Yeah.
pull him. He plays excellent defense and he hustles. So it's like, who do you pull out? Like, we kind of have to have Mark in there, have to play battle a lot of minutes for scoring. So if L doesn't bring what he's good at, then it's like, where does he fit in the picture? There's always
Yeah.
that transfer that kind of falls out of the rotation. And I hope it's not him, but right now it looks like it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see as we come down the
Big
stretch,
game Saturday,
big game, OU undefeated, ranked
number
number 19,
19. Yeah.
beat Providence, who's an
Hey,
okay team, but
well, I mean,
they
Providence
took
is
it.
a tournament team every year, and
Yeah.
Oklahoma took them to the woodshed and destroyed them.
Yeah, they did. The final, it was the final, it was close. It was a 3-point game up until like the 14-minute mark, and then OU went on like a 14-1 run or like something crazy, and just
They have an insane kid that looks a lot like John Morant. Everybody's saying he's got like Allen Iverson comparisons. He's very good.
yeah,
He's a transfer.
better lock him down. Better be physical. We gotta be tough.
I'm sure we'll start Debo on him and then go to blocker and just rotate
Yeah,
those two on him. I'm sure. Mark
yeah,
if needed.
yeah. ESPN a few weeks ago had, I think, us on their predictive like index or whatever. A few weeks ago, they had us at like maybe a 55% chance to win. And then, once we had our losing streak and OU got hot, they had OU at like 52%. Earlier in the week, they had OU at 55 or 56. I checked today, they have OU at 60% chance to beat us.
Is it where is it at? Is it neutral site or is it at
Neutral
Oklahoma?
site. It's neutral site. So like
I thought
I'm
it
starting,
was.
that's a little bit disrespectful. I mean, 60%, it's almost 61. It's like 61-38. That's like, I mean, that's not like planning for a complete blowout, but that's like pretty disrespectful.
I
That's
think
like probably giving a team like a 9 or 10 point advantage.
think they're basing it off their performance against Providence and the fact that we lost to Greensboro and our struggles. But we did just beat Duke, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it should be more if they want to give Oklahoma the edge, like 53-47, 55-45. No way it
Yeah.
should be that high up, like you said.
Yeah. Kind of speaking of comparative analysis, did you see the net rankings came out and we were ranked number 117,
So it's
our
pretty
basketball?
bad for us.
That's really bad. They asked one of the media people asked Coach about it today in his interview, and he was like, "You don't want to know what I think about that." Like you could tell he's like, "It's bull crap." Like there's no way there's 116 teams in the country that are more efficient or better than us. Like I get it, we've had our struggles. Like maybe we're not top 40, but we are not 117. Like our 3 point percentage this year is way up from last year. I think we're at like 39 as a team, which is like great. Our shooting percentage overall is above 50%. Our blocking, like we're number 2 in the country in like blocking. So like that's not, in free throws attempted, we're top 5. Like there's a lot of metrics that are important metrics where we are a top 5 team in the country, top 10. Like anyway, yeah.
I think it comes down to quad one, quad two, quad three, quad four losses and all that. UNCG, I believe, is quad two right now. Memphis as well. So I don't know why we're so low with no quad four losses or quad three. I don't. I saw somebody post that, so I really don't know why we're so low. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
On
Um,
to football, big transfer
football.
news. Rocket Sanders, AJ Green. So the running back room looks depleted. What are your thoughts about them transferring and all the other transfers that have been announced so far?
Yeah, I mean, AJ Green, thanks for the years, man. Like he was a number on our depth chart. He was for 3 years the number 3 running back. Behind, his first year behind Johnson and Rocket Sanders, and then last year, definitely behind Sanders, and then maybe between Dubinion and Johnson, and then this year, kind of same thing. Like maybe he was our number 2, but maybe number 3. And so
He would be
can't.
listed as number two, but not get number two opportunities.
Yeah,
He was always listed as the backup, but he wouldn't get backup carries. It'd be Dubinion getting the carries this year, like you said, or Johnson previous years, and even
yeah.
August, or however you say his name, Isaiah.
Uh, yeah, Augustov. I can't remember, but
Something like
yeah, I mean, once a player gives you like 3, heavy years, hard years, and they're not a superstar, but you can tell that they want to be. I always, say thank you.
he's running
Like,
back one somewhere else for
yeah,
sure.
go try to be a running back 1 somewhere else. Like you gave us what
We're loyal.
you were loyal. Yeah, 3 years is loyalty. And yeah, so like we're gonna miss him, and but I wish him all the best. Like I don't feel like he's shortchanging us.
About Rock.
Rocket, that hurts a little more. That's like, oh dude, you're our guy, and one bad year, and you're out. But again, I can't blame him after what he experienced this year. It's like the guy went from entering the season as probably a top 5 running back prospect in the NFL. And yeah, he had injuries, which definitely like set him back. But even in the games where he was fully healthy, I mean, he was getting 30-yard, 40-yard rushing games, averaging 2, 3 yards a carry, like not doing anything to improve his chances of getting paid, and like he potentially could be that guy, So I think it's for him, he's got to make a business decision, and it's just smart for him to go somewhere where he can run behind an O line. And even with Bobby Petrino coming in, like Bobby runs a great offense, but Bobby's not necessarily known for having running backs that are like
Passing.
leading. He's a passing offensive coordinator. So even in that, it's like, even if you're on a mediocre team, if you're the stud running back at a mediocre team, like, you can get major attention. I mean, look at what the kid at Oklahoma State did this year. Like, Oklahoma State's good, but ended up, I think, with like 3 or 4 losses on the season. But their running back, I mean, they just handed him the ball every single play, and he like was just shattering records and stuff. So like, it makes sense for him to stay there, but it doesn't make sense for Rocket to stay here if we're not going to just feed him the rock every play.
I can fully understand it. And then some people are saying he wants to be closer to his son. So there's that aspect, all kinds of other things. And I completely see it from his perspective. If we have an iffy offensive line again, and he's trying to get paid for his son. I mean, he already is, but I mean, he wants to make it to the league. So
Mhm.
he needs to, he was loyal. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
always felt he was either going to transfer or enter the draft. I really didn't see him coming back next year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else entered.
So we've
Malik,
got some offensive linemen, Devon Manuel.
he was
He and let's see, defensive tackle Tarian Carter.
yeah,
Uh,
he was a rotational lineman. He wasn't bad. Good depth
yeah.
piece.
Um,
We lost
Cam
Chavis today.
Little, draft.
That hurts. That hurts.
It does. Good for him though.
It's understandable. Yeah.
Hopefully he gets there. Receiver Samuel Mbake. I don't
Yeah, he
really
was
remember his.
dismissed from the team. He didn't really get a lot of snaps out of Georgia originally, high school.
Yeah. So I mean, right now, like, there's still a lot. One guy that said that he's staying though,
Landon Jackson just announced.
which is freaking
That is
huge.
huge for our defense.
That is amazing. That's kind of like the version of what I was talking about with like the running back situation, where it's like he is the superstar on a mediocre team. So he just gets to feast, like he's getting every tackle. He's the guy that's like, just go get sacks, go get backfield tackles. You're our, uh, you're our ace, you're our maverick. Like, just go be great. And he can really shine and rack up stats too, on a team that, at least this year, like, our defense was on the field a lot because our offense couldn't stay on the field. So he's able to get extra tackles, extra sacks, extra plays in, extra rotations because, our offense was so bad that he just got to be on the field a lot.
I think that is so huge, just having him come back. And then a couple other guys have announced. Ty Washington, the tight end, he announced he's coming
Oh,
back. That is Haas also announced. I'm trying
that's
to,
really big.
there's a couple more. KJ still hasn't said anything. We don't know about KJ.
Yeah.
I believe Braun is coming back. He got all SEC second team, I believe, which is huge considering how bad our offensive line was. So that really says something.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's it football wise. I don't think Kenny Guyton got announced. He's coming back as wide receivers coach. Offensive line hiring. What do you think about that?
You know, uh,
Adios, Coach Kennedy. By the way, we'll
yeah,
see you.
Kennedy's
You're not
out.
missed. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if you don't do that after the year that we had, it's like,
everybody was
come on.
calling for it. Like, if we're gonna fire anybody, please get his ass out. Just get him.
Yes. So he's gone. Yeah, bringing in the coach from Baylor. Um,
He was a
you
grad
know,
assistant here before under Pittman when Pittman was the line coach. So there's that connection.
yeah, yeah, we'll see. Like, I think, uh, Baylor's a good team. Um, so he's coming from a good program, where he had every bit as high of expectations as here. Um, I haven't looked up how like their offensive line like performed, but
Be worse, probably.
yeah,
worse than what we had.
Worse than what our Razorbacks did. So
That's it
yeah.
for football. Shout out to volleyball. They're in the Sweet 16. They play tomorrow at 3:30 against
Yeah.
Kentucky in Omaha, I think. Or no, it's in Nebraska. I don't know if it's Omaha. I don't know where their volleyball team is.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
Lincoln. Maybe I think that's what it is. I know they're in Nebraska because Nebraska's the 1 seed. So that's huge news. Even if we don't end up winning, we've talked about it before. Those other sports that don't get attention, making it far in the tournament, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Our women's basketball team got a big win, big
Oh, that
upset
was
the other
awesome.
night. In the
Offenbarger had
ACC.
21 rebounds, like the most in college basketball, boys and girls, for this season.
21.
21 rebounds.
But no one's had more than 21 rebounds in a game this year.
Not in men's or women's college basketball. That's what it said.
I find that hard to believe. I feel like Armando Bacot has had a game with like 25.
I don't think so. That's what it said. Sheboy's gone, so I don't think besides Baycott, there's not really a big rebounder in men's college basketball.
Yeah. Well, I would need to confirm it because I feel like Edie or Bacot, at least one of them has had a game with 20 rebounds, or 21. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm trying to
But
think.
regardless, 21 is incredible. Good for her. Way to get the dub. Yeah.
They fought hard against UCLA, number 2 team in the country. Played them, and they lost by 15, but they played them pretty good. Our
Mhm.
girls, our women's team looks better than last year, I would say.
Yeah.
Other sport news, I think that is it for Arkansas. I don't think there's anything else.
No, I think that's it. Yeah, let's
That wraps
all
up today's episode, the Hogs Media Podcast.